I'm saying.
Yeah. Because that's
Don't do that.
No.
Because that's not cool.
Okay.
Okay?
What about Step Tina? Step Tina. You're right. Because stepping is like the male.
All right. Well, that's like...
Okay. What about Step Tina Fecina? That's okay. I don't know where this anger is coming from. You know.
I thought I was very clear. Why do I feel like I'm in marriage fucking counseling? Was I not very clear about what the fuck I was just saying?
Yeah.
Wasn't I very clear about the differences and the delineations?
Well, you're the one that said...
I'm the one that said don't talk about
that's right.
the president's
and that's
death.
where I took issue
And that
with.
was the specific thing.
And that's I took issue with.
That was the specific thing.
I took issue with the fact that you're telling me what to say and not say. That's really what
I said, be careful, don't talk
that.
about the president's death.
I'm not talking about his death. All I'm saying is him drinking Diet Coke all day, every day for the last 40 years might pay off. It might be about to pay off. Thank you, Diet Coke. You know, just because it has die in the name. You know, I didn't put it in there just for the taste of it.
But again, that is a completely different thing.
Well, that's all I said.
No.
I said.
It's not.
I said.
But what? But why am I a step and fetch it?
Oh,
because
my girl,
I was concerned
just
about
joking.
you.
Nah.
That was a long form ass joke, nigga.
Yeah. Don't call me a nigga. Call me a Mr. Nig. And nobody even know. Ro didn't even know what step and fetch it was.
It's a Tom ass nigga.
But
yeah, I picked up on
but it was contextual. He came along at a time that there wasn't many options for black folks. This is like in the 40s. You know, he was one of them classic scared coon type. Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
See my offense?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know. But
does Tammy strike you as a Tom in any way?
No.
No. Thank you. Coon? Maybe. Tom? Never. No. Never a coon, never Tom, never on Sundays. You ever see that flick? Never on Sundays? Yeah. Diet Coke though, my girl. I'm just saying, we can all got Diet Coke to thank, maybe. You know.
It's a special sale on.
Yeah.
You know, I did see that report. It is pretty crazy about that. But just, you know, I mean, whatever. I feel like with that subject, or even with it, it's people are talking about it. I've seen people online.
Oh, with Trump.
Yeah. And then also too, though. Whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news. Trump is.
So what else is going on, Tammy X?
Nothing.
All right.
Oh, that grits and egg guy. His name is Deontay Kyle.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, baby.
Okay.
Yeah. Tammy's just gonna be looking at her phone for the rest of the show. You know, and I'm gonna be talking about Diet Coke, ladies and gentlemen. I thought Diet Coke was horrible, but turns out Diet Coke is a patriot. Paying off. My cousin used to drink Diet Coke. He did. They used to have an ad for Diet Coke called "Just for the Taste of It." Diet Coke. I like Diet Coke tastes horrible, but my cousin used to drink it for the taste. What? That aspartame and saccharin and crap? Oh no, that stuff is horrible. And Trump drinks that all day, every day, and eats like fast food. And man, and now, you know, that's what happens when you're a yak, when you're a maniac. And I'm sure nobody could tell him anything. You know, that's not really good for you to do every day. Can't tell him nothing. But them swollen ankles are telling him something. That's all right.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm looking up TikTok stars, and they're only sharing white people with me. And
oh, well.
That's weird.
I'll rest my case.
But TikTok famous blacks.
What you looking up? Nothing. Just you going to be doing that for the rest of the show.
No, I'm putting together points to make. Didn't we say Joe Budden? I was talking about Joe Budden podcast, grits and eggs. Yeah. We're talking about how you can't.
Don't forget double toasted.
What is that?
Double toasted. Look them up. They're not out of Chi-Town, but look it up. You'll see.
Okay.
They're cool too. A lot of them do that. Another one that does pop culture. We're recording all of this, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. This is a show. Everything's a show, my girl. I don't know if you heard, but now everybody's life, every moment of everybody's life is commoditized. That's where we're going. You know, they canceled Stephen Colbert.
Yeah. That's classic.
Yeah. And people say, well, what is it? CBS, Paramount says it's just because they were losing money, which they are. That's legitimate, but
not because it's Stephen Colbert who's the number one show.
What I'm saying, he made those jokes about them and said that they paid bribe money to Trump, which they did, and that's all of a sudden, look like we got to cancel you. I'm sure they have discussed it. They say they discussed it, but now it's like, okay, that does it. You've made our decision for us. Now we can look like we're trying to just save money when in fact we just capitulating to and appeasing a lunatic and a fascist.
And that's the thing that is that is really overrun in media. Like today is my blackity black. I'm being all blackity black today. Although some people may not agree.
I agree.
I have my.
I know you was gonna take one of those chairs and put it upside my head.
Well, I mean, I just think that, What
does your shirt say?
Everything you love about America is because of black people.
Yeah.
That's what I think, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
I am very curious about how these podcasts are becoming more in depth. Like there are some podcasts that were like, we're just going to be silly and, talk shit and, just let people kind of sit in on our conversations, but we don't really have to be saying anything.
Yeah, just kind of frivolous.
And, I may be wrong, mainly because I rarely check in on this podcast, but, sometimes it pops up on my For You page. But this Joe Budden podcast has always kind of left me flat. It's just something you could observe in a barbershop, guys pontificating about inconsequential things, having, touting what they're experts at or what they have this big knowledge base in. But it's just really all just shit talking, right? And so, and then comes Mark Lamont Hill. And it's like
bringing some weight and some gravitas.
But what's interesting is it kind of created this ecosystem for I think a deeper conversation about code switching, because Mark has a secure lane in broadcast journalism, right?
Right.
And so to have enough cachet to then move into another space, i.e. that podcast space, which is completely, I think colloquial and engagement, they're not code switching. Like he is able to code switch in an authentic way to where it doesn't affect his, I'd say his 9 to 5. And that's something I kind of like to explore. This, who can move through these different ecosystems? Who has the cachet to sit in one space and challenge a world leader, and sit in another space and talk about smoking weed and saying nigga? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that's fascinating, and I think that's a great lane to be in, to where you can really be every part of your authentic self. And it's not like, well, that's really Mark Lamont Hill and that's not. Both of them are who he is.
Like anybody, right? Because it's probably those cats who are on the show as well, they probably have another code they can switch to when they're not on that show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I think what might be happening, like you said, because with the preponderance and prevalence now of more and more podcasts, you're starting to see people in more aspects of people. Because basically now everybody, like, well, what we do, you're a singer, I do stand up, but now having a podcast is almost a prerequisite and
for engagement with the
public. And you almost, so now basically we're commoditizing our lives, you know. So
I mean, that's something that you really viscerally push back on. I mean, you came kicking and screaming to this space.
Yeah. But I'm here, and I mean, there's still things I'm not completely
comfortable.
No, I was gonna say I'm not completely transparent with everything, but I'm more open. We're basically, our lives now have become video journals, right? Mm-hmm. So we talk about what we think and all that stuff, and what we've done, and you know who we. I was gonna make another thing about you and Trump, but I'm not gonna do that anymore. I was gonna say, but yeah.
So the elephant in the motherfucking room, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
So my fellow podcaster here, you know, right before the show, you know, we sit and we talk about things that are interesting to us, and you know, things that we find cool, that we think you're gonna find cool, and so we're riffing and talking about different things. And I think it's no secret that the Napsolute Truth has some disdain for the current administration, the way that they operate, the way that they move. And so my colleague and
my girl called me a colleague. You better be lucky. I can't. Find out what colleague means, because when you do, I know it's not good. No.
Seem to have a different idea of how far is too far when it comes to talking about the president.
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert, I guess, fucked around and found out. But I think that was less about the president and more about his boss, his bosses, and how he pulled the blanket off of some behind the scenes things that his bosses were doing to capitulate to Trump.
Right. Paying him a $16 million settlement for a nonsense, frivolous lawsuit because 60 Minutes had on Kamala Harris, and they said Kamala Harris allegedly defamed his character or
what character is there to speak of?
Right.
This person doesn't have a character.
Right.
Well, so we had this conversation about how far is too far.
Right, and all I said is that we were talking about Trump being sick, his ankles all swolled up, and said, well, what happened? Because you know, he's older, but also he's in bad shape, he's in poor health, he treats himself horribly. Here's the thing that he's true to. Now, he not only treats everybody else horribly, he treats himself horribly. He drinks Diet Coke every day, all day, every day, and all I said was, I thought Diet Coke was bad for you, but it seemed like it might pay off. You know, thank you, Diet Coke. That's all I said. I didn't know Diet Coke was such a patriot. I didn't know Diet Coke was against fascism. That's all I said. You know, just for the taste of it, just for the democracy of it, Diet Coke. That's all I said, my girl. But, and then I said this, and you know I was just joking when I said this. You want me to
go ahead?
Yeah.
And then you said,
okay, and I said, because this is what it was. This is the
and then you said,
I'll tell you what motivated me to say this.
Now we're talking about motivation.
Okay,
all right.
I said when you said don't talk about the president dying, I didn't say that. First of all,
be clear.
Okay, first of all, I don't believe he's the president. He cheated.
Oh shit! Now what does that have to do with any damn thing in the price of tea in China?
My girl, China's where you can get cheaper tea now because of the tariffs over here. But anyway, I digress.
Did you say?
I said that when you were talking about being afraid of what.
No, don't put words in my mouth. what did you say?
I said I called you step and fetch it.
But what did you say before that? You were talking about what you said about it may be time or Coke's gonna do the job.
I said Diet Coke might be paying off. But then
what would you say? Then what did you say?
And then then you said don't be talking about the president dying.
I said don't talk about the president dying.
Right.
That's a line that people don't play about.
And I'm not talking about him dying. I just said
yes, you did.
I said Diet Coke.
And so then because I just make a line, I'm stepping fetchina. I'm like what?
So you made that line.
I don't draw the line.
Right.
They draw the line.
Who's the they?
Who's the they?
Yeah, I don't get the they. Because if we capitulate always to the they.
Who is capitulating?
Well, you said, well, we better not.
If you don't get your goddamn face straight, it's going to be me and you and these microphones up in this podcast.
That's when I refer
trying to protect your black ass.
That's when I referred to you as.
Well, see, that was my problem. That was my problem.
But then I said,
giving a damn about you ended up in the hooshgow.
Okay.
So ladies and gentlemen,
who are you, Jimmy Cagney?
Next time, I should Jimmy Cagney mush your ass. That's what I should do.
What a great
next time, we'll be reporting from Alligator. Where's that place?
Alligator Alcatraz.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go to Dwayne. Oh, Tammy, look like you.
I'm a Tom.
Wouldn't like you.
I'm a stepping fetchina.
No. Oh no, the
grand opening, grand closing of Napsolute Truth.
You're the female equivalent is Steptina Fetchina. Steppy for short. You know what I mean?
Wow. And as I'm showing up the blackest type, I got my shoe earring. I got my black t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm like super black today. I'm like blackety black today.
You always blackety black.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. My black medal that I get from you.
You're the blackety blackest. But in this case, to me, when you were saying we had to draw the line, I disagree.
Then say you disagree.
I did.
You don't call me names.
But I thought that was kind of funny. But apparently, since it's just me and you, I guess I got to get another opinion from somebody. I need to call somebody. Let me see. I got to take a survey.
Bro. You should see Rose's face. Like we were parents arguing and we bringing our child in on that, and Rose was like, oh shit, I don't want to be in this. I'm texting right now. How far is too far? How far is too far? Why do we get to? Why do we have to police ourselves? But the nut doesn't have to police himself.
But this is what I'm saying. This
is such a scary time.
Absolutely.
I just saw this thing on TV, and that's probably what put this on my heart, because I really want to unpack this. Probably what put this on my heart is that they were talking about in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, this man was coming to work. He's of Latin descent. He was coming to work, and they were doing a raid. ICE was doing a raid in the area, and so they pulled over his car. And he's like, oh, excuse me, guys, I'm just going to work. I'm a veteran. I'm a citizen. Here's my ID. He's just a guy. Mm-hmm. They burst his window, drag him out of his car, put him in jail for 2 days. Now, he's a veteran.
Right.
He's a veteran, right? Veteran. He has served this country.
Right.
And because he was Latino descent, they was just like, we're going to throw you in and it'll shake out. Right. And so after he got out, after about 3 days, when they were interviewing him, ABC News was interviewing him and approached the administration about the story. They said he was arrested, he was released. Actually, we investigating federal charges against him. So all that is you better shut up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You better shut up.
Absolutely.
Before we put you back in jail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, and I think that's what was like Jesus Christ, this is so crazy.
Yeah.
And so when you were saying that, all I could think of was, my friend, I love you, and I don't, just be careful. And so I'm like, God damn, we are.
You're going to get a call from me like in about a week.
Man, I'm serious.
Tammy, look like
because
you was right.
They don't have anything better to do but to sit around and abuse people and harass people. And this is like, it's like brain during the communism scare.
Oh yeah, or Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
Gestapo, basically.
Yeah. But who was the guy? Who was the senator?
Joe McCarthy.
Yes. It's McCarthyism.
Yeah.
20,
on steroids.
2025.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. It's worse than McCarthyism. Yeah. But here's the thing, and no, truly, when the lunatic psychopath first cheated his way back into office.
Yes.
I was sort of reluctant, like, man, I better take down my Facebook posts, whatever. But then after a while, it's like, you know what? And I'm not saying I don't have thoughts, and like you said, but at some point, it's what they say. People start to self-censor. They start to surrender in advance.
Yeah,
it's like, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying to. I don't want anything to happen to you. I don't want any harm to come to you. And I'm being serious, and I was just being facetious with the whole stepping thing. But so I get what you're saying. But I think it's still kind of funny. Step Tina, that's kind of funny. Step Tina. Step Tina.
I swear to God. Wait till these cameras are off.
But that's the thing, man. But it is the thing. You start to draw a line, and then I'm not you, anybody. Where then do you stop drawing lines? To all of a sudden the line, you have no room to move because the line is here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The line is here. Basically the line is here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, as much as I can, I'm not saying I'm the bravest cat in the world by any stretch, but I am not going to capitulate. They're going to have to come get me. Later that week, they did. Tammy, you was right. Listen.
No. Can you accept a phone call from Cook County Prison?
No. We have a collect call from Alligator Alcatraz. Tammy, can you come? I know what I said, but I was just bullshitting with the Step Tina Fetchina.
No.
Can you come fetch me? No, but you know what I mean? So no, man. So I'm not going to do that, man, because I knew people who had posted stuff about Trump and whatever it was. Are you going to take that stuff down? Because I'm thinking about taking stuff down. No, I'm not doing that. At first I was like, you really risking it. But I was like, you know what? No, man, because like you said, because as you said, that's what they want. They want you to be afraid. They want you to capitulate. They want you to draw lines. They want you to not assert yourself and the purported rights that you're supposed to have. So here's my thing. If you're operating like that, then you're outside the law. Do you know what I mean? It's like, now everything is subjective and arbitrary. Just because what you say is the law, guess what? I don't agree with that. How about that? What you say is the law, I don't recognize as the law. How about that? Because it's all just made up.
I mean, but that's where we are now anyway. I don't know why the media is still has this Pollyannish view. I mean, the rule of law is done. Supreme Court is done. Congress is done. The legislature is done. I mean, like, there is no rule of law. There is no agreement on particular facts. Mm-hmm. So
why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think that is because this plan was put in place very, very succinctly and very clearly to start out with the media. Mm-hmm. And like Kellyanne, what did she say?
Alternative facts.
Yeah. And at the time,
Kellyanne Conway, whose husband finally divorced her. He couldn't take no more.
And that's true. Yeah. That's true. That's unfortunate that she gave her life.
Yeah, man.
For this.
Like so many have. Okay.
She gave her whole life, her children, her husband.
This is okay, Tammy. This is the bewildering part.
It's wild.
This is the thing. I like to say, forget Donald Trump. He's a lunatic, right?
Right.
It's all the enablers and the people helping him. Because if it was just him, like I always say, he would just
be a crazy guy.
He'd be
just be that crazy guy on 71st Street.
He'd be a
yelling at the
hobo.
Wind.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes.
but it's
all of them.
Yeah, it's like, man, that pantsless hobo makes good sense. I'm gonna devote my life to that pantsless hobo.
That's right.
That's the crazy part. Why is that?
That's right. And the guy that was interviewing her at the time he burst into laughter like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And here, all these years later, that one phrase, alternative facts, has won the day.
Yes.
Because there is no coalescing around the specific,
right.
Even to the point where the true media, the CNNs and the MSNBCs, they still sit and have conversations with people, who are on the right side of this, on the correct side of this issue in history, and they sit and give talking points. Well, just playing devil's advocate. What Trump's advocate?
Right.
What advocate? What are you advocating for based on what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying is true.
Right.
So why are you sitting here giving credence to bullshit?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Or when they interview Trump and he's saying crazy stuff. What about, hey, did you just tell? Is that a lie? What you just said? Why do you lie so much? What is the thing you just said? That's not true, right? None of that. Just
Well, they tried to do that. I remember they tried to do that like kind of early on, but in the end, it's just the powers that be, i.e., the CBSs.
Yeah,
they won the day.
Yeah.
Corporations win the day because again, they run the world, and Bernie Sanders had it right. That's why they crushed that 99% campaign. Because it's the 99% that can run the world if we all coalesce together and stop being divided by the 3% that run everything.
But what's dividing people? Race, gender, religion.
Race, gender, religion, power, a lack of empathy, a lack of wanting to share, a lack of godliness, a lack of Christian values. That's what's so fascinating to me.
Is it just Christians though?
Oh no, it's a lack of
because it's
a lack of moral. It's of a moral compass.
Yeah,
where you want for your brother what you want for yourself. Very simple. I don't care what your religion is.
Right. I was gonna say because it
doesn't matter what your religion is.
Yeah.
A moral compass where you want for your brother what you want for yourself. Women and children first. All of these long held underpinnings of I think any society, but then I can't say that for some societies, but a long held premise that we just take care of each other. That we want for our brother what we want for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that never now more than ever has it been so painfully obvious that that's not what we're about. And those of us that are about that, you're talking about seceding. I've always thought seceding, what is that? Why would you do that? Never more. Let's just find a state and all of us like-minded people just go there and let this just turn into Thunderdome, or what was that place when Mad Max lived, when it was just like this crazy outpost, and leave them all to themselves because everything you love about America is because of black people.
But then here's the thing. But so it's particular groups, it's particular people, it's white men generally, that white folks in the aggregate, not every white person, because there's a lot of white folks now, especially whatever the younger generations do, are not for this, but white people in general, it's because of their pathological inability to share and compulsion to run everybody's life everywhere. That's the issue. That's the issue. Because if you could share and we could just respect one another, then you have no conflict. Then you have no problem. But their problem is they can't run things like they once did. So it just comes down to being able to share, to be in equality, which they are adamantly opposed against because they see generally, I think white folks perceive there's no actual real equality. Equality is only the fulcrum you pass on the way to them being dominated, is the way that they look at it. We can't, because again, it goes back to something I believe, again, it's that whole biological imperative formed by being in Europe, formed through a cold weather existence where you operate from scarcity. I have to have everything, because if I don't have everything, I don't have enough. Whereas you have people who in warmer climates, again, who everything's in abundance, so we don't fear losing. We have enough to share for everybody. So it's just two different mindsets. So when that mindset of folks traveling out of Europe who are slaughtering each other, brutal and slaughtering each other, and then they take that act on the road all over the world, and they encounter these folks who are open and welcoming and sharing, and all they see is Mark. Yep. Columbus said that when he went to that. Look, these people are going to be so easy to dominate. That's what he said.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we're in the last vestiges of that system, of that things being run like that. So they're going all out. So that's why now they're not even pretending. You know what I mean? There's not the gentility. There's not the veneer of democracy or any of those things. No, we're going to run things. We have established a Gestapo to oppress you. We're not pretending that it's not like that. That's not what it is anymore.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because what you brought up was that the origins were in Europe.
Yeah.
There's this amazing author. His name is Resmaa Menakem. The name of the book is My Grandmother's Hands: Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies. And there's this great interview that he did with NPR.
Which has just been defunded.
Yeah.
Because their whole
they don't want to get the message. Any good message, any what is the word I'm looking for? Concise, thorough unpacking of an issue. That's what they want to get rid of. Cloudy foolishness that can reign forever. But when you really, because there's so many aspects to this. There's so many aspects to the deterioration of our society to where we end up with a Trump. And that analysis needs to be a true one. There needs to be an analysis of the Democratic Party and their complete failings. I told you to shut your ass up. Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
Tell him I ain't here, bro. Tell him, you know what? Diet Coke ain't that bad. Tell him Tammy was right.
Lord.
I'll be in Indiana if you need me. Lower Indiana. Yeah.
So Resmaa's point is that this healing is something that needs to start from a chakra level, right? In the white community, and in healing these inner traumas from millennia ago, right? That we start to open these pathways of
the Christians
engagement.
Would call that generational curses, right? Or generational.
Right. We start to open these pathways of engagement and then possible healing. He's talked about, and in this, and we're gonna put in the chat the link to the interview so you guys can hear it. But he gave this wonderful example of how in corporate America, human resources, when you're having a challenge with somebody, or when they're having their DEI trainings or whatever, they bring everybody in the same room, right? And so you're sitting there with, your boss Jim, who secretly called you under his breath, as he was walking past your desk. Right. And so here you are sitting in the same room, like, so how did you feel when Jim disrespected you like that? And Jim, do you understand how, hateful that was, and how generationally that blah, blah. And so you're sitting there, and he was like, now imagine if this person now I want you to step back and imagine if this was a rape victim and her rapist. And it was just like, you know, would you ever re-traumatize a victim like that? And so just asking people to really think about what they're asking of Black people, what they're asking of traumatized people. You know, you're re-traumatizing them, right? And just to look at it in a different way. And like I said, it's a great book, My Grandmother's Hands.
Okay.
And
that's the first time we recommended a book on the show.
Oh yeah, it's the first time. Yay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
First time for everything.
Yeah.
Trick ass.
I'd like to recommend a book. I don't know if anybody ever read The Green Lantern. It's a comic book, and I don't even know if it's still published anymore. But
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He was the only one they had left. So
last one in the truck.
Thank you for tuning in to We Traumatize Each Other, the Napsolute Truth.
Yeah.
My name is Tammy X.
And I'm Dwayne Kennedy. And you know who we're not sponsored by this week? We're not sponsored by
Diet Coke.
But we might be, depending on what happened. You did. Yeah.
That was great. That was a great way to close.